Good morning. Welcome. It's morning Oasis time. I have the hiccups. I was trying to get rid of them before you guys came in, or before I went on, but say lovey. Now I've got the hiccups. Ooh, it's also an early morning. I'm gonna look for my all right, let's see. So, welcome everybody. Good morning. Welcome. It's morning Oasis time. I see you guys are starting to come in. Giving you guys a second. What is today? Today's Tuesday, the 26th of September. We're almost into October. Only have, what, 3.5 months left, or less than 3 and some odd months left of this year. And then we'll be in 2012. Good morning, Karen. Yeah, so today we'll go back to normal. I've got card pull slots. Good morning, Kara. And we will, good morning, Kristen. Yes, you can. So that's 2 slots left. I was looking at my calendar this morning, and I wanted to read you guys something. Good morning, Alanya. So this week, you know how I've talked about my calendar in the past. Chris, you'd like a card pull slot? Okay. And I've mentioned this calendar before. It's my favorite calendar. And Alanya, there we go. Perfect. This is the Wee Moon calendar. It's Gaia Rhythms for Women. I really wish good morning, Ashley. I really wish they had done one of these for men too. I think that'd be great. But, you know, c'est la vie. I guess I'm the only one in that ship who's really championing a little bit more for the divine masculine. Maybe not the only one, but anyway, so in the book, as I go through my weeks, it's so fascinating because they have, I know, I love this book. They have every time, whatever it is that they have there is like exactly on point and relevant. So this calendar, right, for instance, this calendar was made, printed in 2016, I don't know when. Obviously, no one could have known what had just happened in Oregon. But on this week, I'm going to show you guys the image. See that blackened and charred landscape? Yeah. So here, there's a poem. And the poem is called After the Fire. I know my book's a mess. I use it all the time, but I'm going to read this poem to you guys. It's called After the Fire. When the last water droplets drops, then dries, and the cloying scent of smoke has cleared, and even the dog's dark dreams, dizziest, you desist, you realize that prayers you didn't even know you had were answered. You stand in wonder because you know you have heard the stories. Earth will erupt, air will implode, water will shape, and fire will transform. Elemental forces can never be completely controlled by humans. And yet some wisp of intuition, some freaky premonition, some angel intervention or fate of manipulation, you are standing, bruised, but not broken, amidst the beautiful wreckage of plastic, metal, wood, and wire, but not bone, nor body, or breath. And you drop, knees to earth, eyes to sky, and say, thank you. You know, we get pretty stuck in expecting things to stay the status, right? The status quo, always being in alignment with what we know, what we expect. We have this happen to us on a daily basis with each other in interactions all the time. We have these unspoken expectations that we hold for one another. What it looks like to me for you to respect me, what it looks like to me for you to love me, what it looks like to me for you to disrespect me, what it looks like to me for you to not love me. And these expectations, you would think, are based upon how the other person shows their love and respect. No, it's not. It's based on our own needs. So it's also the last thing we actually talk about. How often have you told somebody, I need for you to behave this way if you want me to feel respected and loved by you? Have any of you even ever said that? It's really challenging. We know it's inappropriate for us, in a sense, to tell somebody else to behave in a particular way. We know that if we are telling someone to behave in a particular way, then it's not authentic. They're not coming from it. It's not coming from inside them. So we've already decided and told ourselves that if we tell them how we want them to behave, and we tell them what we expect of them, then they're only doing it because we've told them, not because they love us. So this whole system that we've created of expectation and unmet expectation, it really is damaging all of us at this point. With the fires, this is another instance of that, another example of that. We have this, we have had a huge swath of our beautiful, pristine forest, right? The gorge is unreal. It's one of those places that's magical. And it's burned, a large part of it has burned. And there are so many people who are so furious because it burned because of this boy's poor behavior. We could say that that's why it burned. Or we could recognize that it burned out of control like that because we're so desperate to keep it exactly the way we want it to be that we haven't managed it. And indigenous tribes living in here, in all of these regions, knew and understood the importance of the role of fire. And they didn't cling to preventing fire from happening when it happened. And they understood that it even needed to be encouraged in points in order to keep a forest healthy. Small fires, if there's not much underbrush, never burn enough to get up into the crown. In order to get up into the crown, there has to be a ton of debris at the ground. There has to be so much fuel underneath. And the forests in Oregon are rich, right? They're rich. And so all these people have these expectations of what punishment looks like for this boy who made this accident. No one is willing to admit that their own desire to keep the gorge exactly the way they wanted it to be, and their lack of funding and resources and attention towards the idea of managing our forests healthily, all of that stuff, that's not to blame. But this one boy who made this mistake is. And yeah, everyone has to learn from their mistakes. But there are people that would probably, I'm not kidding, there are people out there who are so angry, they might actually act in violence towards this boy if he is not punished the way they expect him to be punished, what punishment looks like. And now the gorge, it doesn't look the way they expect it to look. It's been broken in their mind. It's been damaged. Oh my God, the most beautiful little girl just walked by with her mother. So what would it look like if we could instead see that that boy's actions served to show us the necessity, the importance of maintenance and fire allowance and changing the way we have relationships with our environment. Instead of expecting our environment to serve us, we recognize that we're here stewards of this environment. We're pieces of it. I always think it's interesting when people say they have to get out of the city to go back to nature because that's where they can feel connected. Do they not realize that their house is standing on nature? That their concrete paths are standing on nature? Do they not realize that this is a nature that is crafted and controlled? Can you not feel connected to it here? If your expectation is that the city is disconnected from nature, well, how can we ever get the people of that city to feel connected back in if those of us who understand the nature of connection leave? How can we change and transition the greatest population centers, where the resources, where the voting power, where the mind base is for our people, if we all leave? Are we expecting them to come and follow us and look to us for a new example? What do we expect from those around us in order to validate our perspectives and our viewpoints? So expectation is kind of big in my mind today. I'm in the middle of talking about expectations and dealing with that, so that's why it's coming up. Yeah, I just had to put all that back out there. And yeah, the gorge will grow. It's going to be fine. It's going to probably be healthier than it was before, because it's not going to be choked with ivy and blackberry, which, by the way, both are foreign invaders. Kind of like us. Yeah, expectations. It's a big one right now. We're really having to address that. Okay. I forget. Did I show you guys my crone mirror? My Lady Maiden in crone mirror? I just pulled it out of all of my packing stuff. So let's see. What we're going to do, I'm just going to feel for one quick second. Yeah. They want me to do... I'm just going to stand it because these are ridiculously far. All right. We'll start with the 3-pull. See where that takes us. Yes, they are, Ashley. I'm sorry. But we can put you down for tomorrow. Actually, you know what? I've decided something. I'm not going to put people down early anymore. And I'm not going to hold over pulls till the next time. It's too much for me to track. And I'll just be real. I'm lazy. Have you, Elania? I think it's kind of in the air, right? This is on the stream. What are your expectations? And you know, it's not just expectations about others, it's expectations about ourselves. Most of us aren't even aware of how much, how many, how severe we place expectations on ourselves. And as we fail to meet these expectations, we decide and to determine ourselves to be failing or failures, right? Huge, huge issue. I'm actually... One of my friends and students, a very, very dear friend, right now they're in the middle of that. They have a partner who they met, know exactly what kind of person they are. This is kind of what I'm talking about. This is what I'm going to talk about, Megan, actually. They have a partner. They know exactly what kind of person they were when they got together with them. This partner of theirs has a huge role and job. I'm talking a job and role that impacts tens to hundreds of thousands of people. Possibly more. And as they grow, will. The expectation of what love looks like for that person versus the expectation of what love looks like for the other are completely incompatible right now. Because one believes that the actions of the other are specifically counter to being loved. And the other believes that their actions are the embodiment of being whole love. Right? Now, my student, their issue is others are going to look at this and they're going to see that behavior and they're going to be like, that guy's just flirting. That guy's acting inappropriate. And for my student, it proves true. If they loved me, they would not behave this way. If they loved me, they would not do these things. If they respected me, they would not do these things. Now, these are things this person does as part of their career, right? Fans love this person. There's this incompatibility because of expectation. Now, if the student cannot release the expectation that they hold of what love looks like, then they cannot receive love from this person who loves them dearly, right? So there's this duality that's happening. And it's creating conflict between the two of them. Huge conflict. Where one cannot receive from the other on both sides. And this is what happens if we cannot address our expectations honestly. We can't speak them honestly, because my student, she's kind of afraid to say exactly what she thinks and feels. So instead, she acts on the unmet expectations without speaking the expectations, without speaking the unmet part, right? So this creates even a greater separation between the two people. So this speaks to this card that I pulled. Now remember, we're going to be pulling first for the divine masculine, the divine feminine, and then for the angelic frequencies that are supporting us. I really kind of like doing that. So we're going to start with the masculine via Ganesh, and we got openness. We've gotten this one in the past, not too far back. Observe, evaluate, and make inquiries before forming a conclusion. Okay. When the moon is waning in the crescent phase, it is a good time to begin to review endeavors and correct mistakes. It's time to throw out what you no longer need and clear away excess and old energy, including clutter. You may find that you're trying to decide between two options. This card is not about making a decision, but more about taking the time to really listen to your heart and your inner voice. Ganesh advises you to gain more information before you act. Now, in terms of expectation, you guys, like, once our expectations have been broken or unmet, we shut down and we begin guarding, protecting, caring, right? We cover and protect ourselves because we now feel vulnerable. We've been disappointed. Not by somebody else, but by ourselves, okay? Spoken expectations lead to abandonment. So let's talk about that part too, right? Spoken expectations lead to abandonment. They do if your expectations are unfair on the other person, or if the other person is not in alignment with meeting your expectations, which happens a lot. One of the things I'm very guilty of, when I look at a person, I see all of them. I see them in their whole energetic selves. And I see all the strands. Now, because I'm a wee bit of a Pollyanna, I like things to be good, happy, joyous, right? I filter out a lot of the issues, struggles, challenges those people are facing. I filter out and I don't see where they're at in the here and the now, because I see the whole story. And to me, this here and this now, this is just this little speck. It's just this little bleep. Look at what you are. You're so much more than that. So I expect them to be more because I can see all of what they are. So I expect more from them. And then when they start to behave and interact and dialogue and have their challenges in their faces, and they start on not meeting my expectations of what I see them as capable of being, suddenly, what are you doing? Why are you behaving this way? This isn't acceptable. This isn't appropriate. I need you to behave this way for me. Is that my place? Or am I then robbing them of the opportunity and experiences that are necessary for them to learn the lessons, to be able to embody that part of their whole self here in the physicality? Doesn't matter what we can do up here in the energetics, people. It really doesn't, if we cannot translate it into the physical. So, my option is I can either pull back from this whole spectrum of what I view them as capable of being, pull back, observe, don't make decisions and choices and decide what they are or are not, but observe, where are they in their spectrum of growth and development? And can I find beauty in that? Can I find love in that? Can I find acceptance in that, in where they are at? Because if I cannot, it's not about them. That's about me. I can't love where I'm at. I can't love what I am expecting of myself. When we place the expectations on another for our personal comfort, acceptance, love, feelings of being held, when we place those expectations on another, there is no option but to leave. It's not their job. Yeah, exactly, Jessie. So it's not about, when we place expectations upon other people, the reason I say speak them loud, so you can hear them out loud. Because when we hear them out loud, we go, oh, that kind of sounds like an asshole thing for me to expect for this person. Right? So if we don't give ourselves the permission to have that conversation and to speak it aloud and to watch their face go, I'm sorry, you expect me to do what? Then we don't learn the lesson. Okay? So, express them and expect them to leave because they're serving you. They're reminding you when they leave, it's not their job. That's not their job. That's yours. We expect others. We even expect other people to make sure we're comfortable during conversations. That's what political correctness is all about. I expect you to care that I'm offended right now. I expect you to care enough to shut your own voice down because my opinion has been challenged. What I view as right has been challenged. And now I expect for you to listen to my behavior that is justified and validated because I've been challenged. Sounds pretty shitty when you put it that way, right? But we do it all the time. We do it all the time with each other. So let's stop. Let's recognize our expectations are our little children inside of us, ourselves, our little broken parts and fragmented pieces, and they're just begging us, this is what we need from you. Can you stop making everybody else responsible? Because it doesn't feel as good from them as it feels from you. Can I just love me? Can I just hold me? And until we get there, until we get to where we actually can feel held and loved internally, we will never be satisfied by the love we get from others. Never. It will never be enough. It will never fulfill us enough. It will never feel strong enough. We will never feel justified or validated in our actions. We will always feel lack because the lack is inside. All right. So, for the Divine Feminine, we got, thank you, Megan, Ariadne. Oh, no. I moved the lens over, the light over here. See if we can get a little less reflection. Ariadne, omens. She's the Minoan snake goddess from Crete. Ariadne is in charge of the labyrinth and the matrix. She is from an ancient matriarchal culture and is fiercely loved. Some suggest she was a giant. Ariadne helped keep Theseus safe in his successful quest to slay the Minotaur. She's also associated with the thread or cord that leads one into the darkest of mazes and back out again. Here, Ariadne wears traditional bare-breasted attire and a long skirt. She holds two serpents that represent opposing forces, truth and illusion. Ariadne gives you signs and omens to assist you in the matrix of your incarnation here on the earth. Be receptive to her. So for me, in context of this conversation, of where I'm at energetically, of what Ganesh has said about openness, she's wide open. She has no fear because she is the matrix. She is the maze. She is the darkness and the light and the string that leads you through it all. And so she has no fear and she has no expectation. Look at her. Does she have servants around her making her feel strong and glorified and being so beautiful and open? No. She has truth and illusion winding through her and around her. And she nurtures openly, right? The breast is the nurturing energy. So this is an ancient symbol for us, this matriarch. She's like ancient for us. And she's speaking to us in the signs, asking us to see what is truth, what is illusion, what is true in the world, and what am I telling myself? One of the things that that particular student with the conflict had was that even after it was proven that it was an internal mental illusion being created by unmet expectations, even when it was clear, they still wanted to be proved in their perspective that their perspective was true. It's not all that I made it up. I didn't make all of it up, Jessie. This behavior is unacceptable. Anyone would see it that way. Well, that's not true, actually. He doesn't. So we have to release these things, guys. Look at the signs. If you're struggling and you're trying to get somebody to change in the way they behave or interact with you, you're trying to get them to meet some need for you, some expectation for you, hold you in some way that helps you to feel more whole, more happy, more whatever, the signs are going to come and you will be left alone. And here we go. Perfect. You'll be left alone with Shatiel, the angel of silence. Look at that. Take a moment, take the silence within you, and use it to still the tremors of your soul. Right? So we'll read more of this. Words fail, the wind dies, the earth comes to a rest. Shatiel descends in stillness. New forms for all things emerge, touched by the elusive fingers of the angel Shatiel. Space fills with silence and void gains new meaning. We're held still by the grip of its presence. Fear is useless and its presence is almost always brief. Silence slides over your ears, enveloping your awareness completely, as if you've closed your eyes. You know, one of the things that I even noticed this, and I'm an avid meditator. I meditate every day. I meditate for hours, usually a couple hours at least. And oftentimes I'll meditate a couple points throughout the day. That's part of how I grow. It's part of my work. It's where I get information. It's how I stay centered. It's how I keep my energy in alignment. It's how I move forward. It is my journey. It's part of my work, right? So, and for me, when I find myself in silence and I wasn't planning on meditating, even me, I'm like, what am I going to do? Maybe I should put on music. Maybe I should watch a movie. Maybe I should call somebody. Maybe I should do something. Even though I have that happen. But one of the things I love about them mentioning the void, we feel a void inside when we don't have that connection with others. We feel this void inside, and I actually was just working with Jessie last night on a void that was left because I realized I was too dependent upon another. My connection was too strong. I was using that person for my own strength, my own grounding, my own motion. Completely inappropriate, completely unacceptable. Necessary at the time, but no longer necessary now that I've seen it. And so by releasing that, I'm totally undoing and unhooking and unhooking, right? It left me this void because I didn't fill the space left behind. I thought I had, but I hadn't really grounded it all the way. It left me a void, and I had to fill that void with myself because it was making other parts of me hurt. Parts that weren't even voided out, but they were hurting as a result of this. So I could have gone to that person and gotten upset and been like, you know, we made all these blah, 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 blah. right? Those were my expectations. Yeah, it is better today. Not 100%, but way, way better. I can actually walk on it, and I'm not limping, and my calf is relaxing. Thank you. So by releasing the expectations and recognizing that those expectations were placed because of my own fear of inability to meet them, so I placed them on someone else. I've done this before. We all do this. We all do it. So the void, we have this fear of it. A void space, the vacuum, right? Like we have this fear of this void. However, when you start working energetically, when you start working in this way, the void is the best place to work from, because the void is devoid of expectation, of other energy, of other influences, of other thoughts. It has nothing there. And the void is a place energetically a lot of people are uncomfortable going. They fear it. There's a sense that the void is dangerous to them in some way. But the void is actually this space. They feel they'll disappear themselves and become a void. But when we go into the void, it's like going into a controlled environment, essentially. It's like going into a clean room. And we can actually look at something free of all the influential energies of everything else going on around us. We can create in the void. We can bring things back from the void. So the void is a very different place than you think, and you can only get there in silence. The only way through is the silence of the soul, the silence of the mind. So let's get in our void space. Let's start making what we need and bringing it back to us so we can manifest it around us, so we can serve instead of expect to be served. Right? Right. I will admit, I actually really enjoy the void personally, but you know, I am myself. Exactly. Ilanya, that void between ourselves, the space between ourselves. We have the entire universe packed all into the space between us. It's like we are the vastest of beings inside. And if we can't get in that void either, well, then we're really screwed. Right? Okay, so let's see. We've got 3 card pulls. Kristen. Oh. We haven't pulled this one down for a while. Now that her other deck has gone with Shauna, we're going to pull from the Dreams of Gaia Tarot by Raven Fallon. No, I enjoy the void. Jessie enjoys the void. We're void people. We can live in voidness. All right. Okay, so this one is for Kristen. By the way, you guys, I have to say a few things about this trip over this weekend that I have not yet said. First of all, I never want to travel without Kristen again, because that woman kept me on task. Helped me remember where we're driving to, helped me remember what time it was, helped me remember where my keys were, helped me find my phone so many times, helped me in every way, because once I got on the road, I was just like, how do I do what I gotta do? It was really interesting how much I needed her and how grateful I was for her. And then we get there and I get hosted by probably one of the best little hosts I've ever had, Ashley. let us stay in her home. We didn't even get there till like 10:30 at night, graciously opening her doors at that late at night for us. So awesome. And seriously, that soup was the best soup I've ever had. And made cookies for us at night, and got up and made coffee when we had to get up at an ungodly hour and leave. And it was like I was held by the divine this weekend and last weekend. And I just want to thank all of you, and meeting Ashley's family, and I just absolutely adored her husband. And it was amazing. We were at the end of a day of a birthday for a 4-year-old. Birthday party day all day long, right? And a sleepover, and adults and kids, and I heard no yelling, no anger, no frustration. There was no one kid saying, "This is mine." There was no, it was so just like flowy. Awesome. I need some parenting lessons from you, Ashley. I'm just telling you. Okay, so this card is for Kristen, excuse me. And Kristen, you got the Sage. Oh, that was why I was going to say this. Kristen's intuition this weekend was so spot friggin' on. I was blown away. Oh yeah, she's so part angel, part robot. It's amazing. I am blown away by that woman's ability. But Kristen, your intuition, freaking spot on this weekend, and I want to see you trusting that more. So you got the Sage, right? There's that owl and that wolf. Sharing, communication, knowledge, information, culture, tradition, advice, and manipulation. Be the storyteller, communicate your thoughts and feelings, know your audience, which you totally do. Devote time to research and investigation. Learn the traditions and customs of others, and know that your ancestors and heritage lead and guide you. Sage advice, both given and received. There is no good time to give unsolicited advice. Question your traditional reactions and responses. So that was another thing. Like, Kristen has a great gauge for going, Jessie, I think you need to be the one that says that. It won't sound the same coming from me. Or, this needs to be said. Great. Really, really spot on with that. Do not speak so much that you forget to listen. Kristen is very good at listening. Be wary of the smooth talker. Do not embellish the truth. Yes. So this is just a confirmation for you. Bringing about that Sage, you have some seriously good gifts, instincts, intuition, and we need you to embody them more. Feel confident in embodying them, because you are a Sage as well, my dear. You just haven't tapped into what you want to say yet. That's all. The stories you want to tell, right? Okay, Chris. Let's see. Where are we at time-wise? I'm totally 40 after. Yeah, we're doing good. Let's see, Chris. The Energy Oracle want to talk to you. After doing the fair, I had to pick up a lot more of my work stuff from the house. So now my little office space is starting to really fill out. It's kind of nice, actually. I'm enjoying it. Okay. Oh, interesting. Today, by the way, you may have noticed, you may not have, the music is different. Today I decided I was just going to play a little bit of my favorite composer, Claude Debussy. Playing piano, music on piano. That is, I just absolutely love him. Okay, let me see. Okay. So I'm going to read this one because this one only comes about once in a while. You got Storm Warning, card number 10. Clouds on the horizon. This card indicates a potentially difficult, either in the external world or within yourself and your emotional life, situation. The difficulty is coming closer, and you may have already heard the rumblings of potential problems around you. The caution here is to be conscious, yet not fearful. Consider what's going on and look at the situation with calm clarity. Investigate your opinions and honor yourself and your intentions. Stand up for yourself and take action on your own behalf. As with all difficulty, even the worst storm passes. Always remember you have the power and the wisdom to handle whatever may come your way. So, yeah. So there's an affirmation that comes with it. Let's just speak it aloud because all of us really need this. I have the power to overcome any obstacles. No matter what is going on, I can be strong, confident, and self-directed. I'm so in that too. I have the power to overcome any obstacle. No matter what is going on, I can be strong, confident, and self-directed through the storm. All right. And last but not least, we have Alanya, and then we'll do a little bit of work because it looks like we'll have time too. That sounds good. Let's see. What wants to talk? Oh, as I slam my cards all around. The Thoth. The Thoth deck. I just love the Thoth tarot deck. It's such a great one. Self-directed, exactly. Yes, I got a really big dose at the fair of how I need to shift and direct myself a bit differently. We'll be cleaning things up at HP over the next few weeks. Oh, interesting. Let me feel this one for a second. Okay. So what you got is the Five of Wands, which is strife. In some of the other decks, the Five of Wands can also be like hardship. It can be a challenge, facing this challenge, facing loss or desperation can also be. What I'm getting a sense of with this one is that you are being challenged right now, physically, by somebody. You're in the middle of a conflict of some sort. There's some sort of an argument going on. And what I'm hearing, yeah, it feels like a verbal argument because my throat just wants to like close up, like hear it. It's just, and I'm really dropping. So that's telling me you're really needing to drop into your power. What this card, let me see if I can get it. Okay, there we go. Notice that it has lotuses and the Thoth head. It also has the wings, the blue wings. I mean, this is an Egyptian symbol, but where does it come from, right? And again, we've got this snake, the two snakes, the truth and illusion. And this blue winged bird, the Thoth, or the avians, the blue avians we now are calling them. All of these things, these are different energies coming into alignment, like great forces at play. So right now it's time to allow the forces at play to happen and to recognize the strife is like, let's say you're going to carve a stone into a statue. Once you start hacking away at that stone, the stone is probably going, why are you cutting me up? Why are you doing this? But you're shaping something greater. Something greater is being shaped from the stone that will allow others to be able to access that energy within the stone even more clearly, or potentially allow that stone to radiate that energy out. And that's what's happening for you. The strife right now that you're facing is a defining and refining process for you. So one of the things that I love to do in meditation is I will one of two things with the lotus blossom. Let's say I want to travel, I will open the blossom, a lotus blossom in my crown, and it's like a blue, almost ultraviolet lotus blossom, and I travel through that. But for strife, for what you're facing, for staying really serene in the space, one of the reasons so many of the deities in India are shown and illustrated on a lotus blossom opening at their feet is because that unfurling of the blossom allows them to have that grace. The lotus blossom grows from the swamp, and it grows down at the bottom. The plant itself is at the bottom of the muckiest, dirtiest swamps, usually really stagnant places that are smelly. And I don't know if you've been to a true swamp, but they're smelly and dirty, and you don't even want to walk through that water. It is gross. That's where they grow, and up from there this little bulb comes and then opens as it breaks through the surface, comes up to the surface and breaks through, and it's sealed and protected by this casing around. The petals are perfectly clean and crisp and beautiful, and the casing opens after it's released from that toxic sludge. Then it opens and it rests so the flower has something to stand on, to be supported by. And it's only through that journey that the lotus blossom can become this open blossom. And so that's one of the reasons that it is a symbol of that. So right now, in your meditations, call in the lotus blossom. And I'm hearing a pink lotus blossom would be really supportive of you. White as well, but pink would be better, I think, while you're dealing with this conflict and strife. And remember, when we're having trouble speaking from our speaking place, it's usually because we're cutting off the connection between our mind and our heart. If these two things cannot flow between each other, the problem will manifest and show itself in the throat. So if we're trying to only speak from our head or trying to only speak from our heart, we're saying these two can't commune. We can't commune our humanity with our consciousness, right? So it creates this conflict, or a choked conduit, or a cut off. Sometimes I'll even see like a plate, a steel plate between the two. So if you have something going on like that, you can open a rose in the throat. Allow the rose to grow up through the vessel and open the rose in the throat. So it really opens it up and supports you while you're speaking your truth. The rose is an angelic frequency of healing and support. Yeah, okay, that's what I hear for you, Alanya. That gives us 12 minutes. One of the things that I thought we would do is we would go back over using the compass. We haven't done that a long time, and I've had a lot of new people come and ask about it and have been joining the show recently. And our viewership is just shifting and changing. We've got people coming from all new places. So I thought, why don't we go ahead and ground and connect, and we'll just reorient the compass for a moment and just play with that for a moment. We've got time. Yeah. So everybody, go ahead and get comfortable. Take a deep breath in. Go ahead and start to just feel your body in your chair. If you're laying down, feel your body on the bed. And as you breathe in this present moment, the smells, the temperature, just become more present and release. Breathing in, present moment, present awareness. And as you exhale, begin unhooking yourself from the thoughts of what you have to do next or where you have to go that pull you forward from this moment. Breathing in, present awareness. As you exhale, go ahead and unhook from those things that happened before, that you had to face yesterday, or that are pulling you back and wanting to be replayed in the mind. Just unhooking. And unhooking some more. And now, as you breathe in, I want you to just note all the expectations that you hold of yourself in this moment, in this time. And begin unhooking from those. Feeling in the body this total presence, begin to take note of all of the body, feeling the chest from the breath, feeling the shoulders and the abdomen, feeling the hips reaching down into the legs and the arms, reaching out from the body cavity, the neck rising. Feel all the way out to the fingertips, to the toes, to the top of the head. Feel the fullness of your vessel. See if you can get to the point where you can feel your skin all the way around you. Now I want you to imagine that every cell of your skin is growing roots to ground you. In this moment, today, we're going to ground from all around us like a great big nursing log in the forest, growing so many things. We're going to reach with our roots down. This will feel heavy for those of you who really like to be up in the light, up in the high. But if you don't bring it into the physical, it never works. So just in this moment, feel the heavy, feel the pull. And feel how as those roots take hold, they're pulling that Gaia energy, right? Pull that Gaia energy in, just like a tree draws the nutrients in through that capillaries of the roots. We're going to draw that energy in so it's just permeating us through all of our vessel, this Gaia energy. And in this deeply grounded state, going to allow what is in us to blossom. Allow whatever plant vessel is supporting you, that you're connected with, allow it to mature within and blossom. For me, it's a huge strawberry patch that just explodes all inside with these little white flowers, their little yellow centers and their dark green leaves. I feel like my body is a big strawberry patch. See what that fruit of your plant is. Maybe it's a vegetable. Maybe it's a nut. Maybe it's a flower and a pod. I want you to feel that grounded energy as the light starts to shine down on your plant, encouraging it to blossom and grow, sweetening your fruits, ripening, maturing your plant. This is the fruit of your love for yourself, for the creation, for the gift of this life. This is your bounty. I want you to pick and consume this bounty. Consume your own fruit. And as you do so, feel that love, that nourishment, that nurturing. As the fruit goes down into the sense of self, the solar plex, the stomach area, right? Feed that sense of self. This is who you are. Isn't that amazing? Feel all the molecules and nutrients being absorbed by your body, spreading out through all of your vessel. Feeding all of your cells, feeding all of you. Good. Blueberries, that's beautiful. Good. I thought we'd work on the compass, but they just want you guys to take the rest of this day and consume your own fruit. Nourishing the self. Beautiful. I'm going to say goodbye. I love you guys. Good work, and I'll see you tomorrow. Remember, let go of expectations. Ooh, jasmine. Oh, love that. Oof. Oh, love it. All right. I'd love to hear what all of you guys ended up blossoming into. Feel free to continue commenting. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.